Good morning, traders. Welcome back to another live stream. If you are new, my name is Zach. This is Real Deal Futures. On this beautiful January 21st, Wednesday, right? I think Wednesday. We got a special guest coming on, but as always, before we do that, before we check out the market, see what we can or can't do, make sure you read what's on the screen. Trading is risky. Most traders do lose money. I'm not a financial advisor. I do not provide financial advice. Nothing I say or do is a suggestion or recommendation to do anything at all. For entertainment purposes only, make sure you read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what this is, even in funded prop firm accounts, and the affiliate and partnership disclaimer that says I stand to make money from links and codes in my content, like Top on Futures, code RDF, Bookmap, and others. Chat, what's going on? What's going on, guys? We're getting a good start here this morning. Glenn B, Dwayne, what's happening? Tom Ward, Alan, Dr. AK. I know we're going to have the OGs on kick as well. Kobe, Slothfather, Jess, what's going on, guys? What's going on? Stream looks good. We're looking good across platforms here. Seeing what we see we can get rolling today. We're going to be in the, as always, or as we have been, Top 1 Futures 15K pre-live on Project X. Gonna see if I can get some motion in this bad boy rolling. But before we talk too much about the markets, I'm going to go ahead and bring on special guest trader Drysdale. Welcome to the show. What's going on, my man?
Good morning, Zach. Thanks for having me. Good morning, everybody.
Absolutely. Good morning. Good morning.
Happy Wednesday, traders. You're full of energy. I feel like I got to bring the energy now.
Oh, yeah. I usually have 2 cups of coffee right before I hop on here, get all jacked up. But yeah, man, this is it's been some interesting markets to trade for sure. I'll throw it to you right off the bat if you don't mind before market open, before I even let you know what I'm looking at on YM here. What are usually instruments you're looking at coming into NYSE Open?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm a NQ specialist myself. I spend a majority of my time trading NQ. I will trade ES, and I've been a little hot on the precious metals lately, so gold and silver. Ooh, so when there's a lot of activity, I tend to get drawn to it, and I've been doing quite well. I had a 5-figure week in my cash account last week on silver.
Beautiful, man. Beautiful. So you like that volatility, huh? You were able to hop over and
I do. I do like the volatility.
Yeah, I think it's I think it's something that can be a really great opportunity for traders like yourself that are experienced, that really thrive in volatility, right? Like if you're trading NQ, I'm sure silver and gold going crazy this year. We're probably just prime time for you. But
absolutely.
I'm sure maybe you would agree. The opposite can also be true if you're not as experienced. If volatility is not your MO, you come in, position sizing can be really tough. They can be super fast moving.
Yep, you can absolutely get steamrolled. So that's my favorite term to use, steamrolled.
Steamrolled.
Yeah. I used to get steamrolled a lot. I've worked on that, and I don't get steamrolled as often. Still happens once in a while, but
for sure.
I do consider myself a scalper, so I do look for quick, fast moves. I grab my piece of the volatility. So the high volatility oscillations do real well for how I trade the market. I use a stream deck with hotkeys. I trade only on the DOM. I don't trade on a chart. So
okay.
I'm quick. Yep.
Awesome. Interesting. So straight from a DOM.
Yep. Always.
Awesome, man.
Limit orders, DOM only. I'll do market out sometimes, but I'll never market in.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I like that. So as far as charting setup for you, I know you are a best-selling Amazon book author. Excuse me, author now. We got a best-selling author on the stream today. So you got a VWAP system going. I know you do some stuff with standard deviation bands as well. I don't mean to quiz you right off the bat, but I know I've got some traders from my community that are heavy VWAP traders, right? We kind of overlap a lot with Austin's group. I'm curious to hear, how that plays for you, and especially the standard deviation bands, because I've got more and more people talking about it in my community.
Yeah, absolutely. So we use the deviations to gauge the market context. So in our system, we always can determine what state the market is in. It can only be in one of 2 states. We're either in balance or price discovery. And we use the deviations to understand the market condition. So we have 4 core setups in our system, and we select our setups based on the market condition. Right? So if we're in balance, we'll look to fade the value or extremes or the edges of value back towards usually a point of control or the VWAP itself for the mean reversion trade. And if we're in price discovery, so we're in trending conditions, we're holding outside of the balance area, we'll trade in the direction of the trend so we don't get steamrolled. And we call that the price discovery continuation trade. So those are our two most popular setups. We have the VWAP bounce, which I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with. That's where we reach the VWAP and we bounce off it in the continuing direction. We only take that trade in trending conditions. So if we're hovering on the VWAP a lot, we won't touch that trade generally. We can scalp off it, but for the bigger moves. And then the last setup we have is the return to value. So that's where we've been trending for quite some time. And we're now, the trend is either exhausted or rejecting, and we expect the mean reversion trade there as well.
Awesome. Appreciate the breakdown. Really, really interesting to hear. I think it makes a lot of sense, right? Just generally looking for some of that kind of continuation style movement in trending markets, trying to identify some context, and then use tools that you find confidence in, that you find work really efficiently to your advantage. I try to ask everybody on this one. I know it's always a little bit of a hot topic. Do you find yourself applying a bit of discretion, intuition to the tools that you're using, or are these really cut and dry mechanical style setups?
That's a great question. So I do consider the system a discretionary system within a mechanical framework. So there are rules, there are setups, there is some foundation and structure to the trading, but with discretion, which needs to be built with experience and time, you can trade the system better, right? And you can better get an idea of the context, the setups, and you become a better trader the more you practice it and the more you get better at it. In my opinion, a purely mechanical system, if it were that mechanical, you wouldn't need to sit down at the computer. You would just program an algorithm to trade it for you. And you can go to the pool and have your ATM machine just print money for you if it were that mechanical. But as soon as you make a decision, whether it's to sit down at the computer at a specific time and only trade those hours, boom, you already have a discretionary system, right? So as soon as you have to make a decision, the variables are instantly changing. So to take that a step further, Zach, I do believe there's discretion, there's edge in discretion. That I believe that as retail traders, one of our greatest strengths is the ability to make decisions and to lean on experience and structure to make logical decisions to be profitable. So I think the frustrating part for most traders is they haven't built up that necessary discretion, and that takes a long time.
Yep, we're of the same mindset. I always respect everybody that comes on. But that's a big piece of my trading, is really agreeing with everything you just said there. You have to have some way to apply some consistency. You have to have some framework, so we're not just coming to the market and doing something completely random every day. But a big piece of that edge, a big piece of creating that positive expected value comes from discretion. And just like you said, tough, not to parrot it, but tough because that's built through experience. It's built through time on the chart. It's built through, failing miserably for long periods and figuring out what doesn't work. And then really just training your eyes on whatever you're using, right? Pattern recognition, market context, going through multiple cycles through different markets. But it's a really interesting piece. I think earlier on, I wish I really reflected on that. And that was where I was stuck, I think, for a long time. I need to operate like a machine. I need this 100% mechanical rules-based system. But just like you said, if it was just that easy, we'd all be kicking back on the beach, drinking margaritas, hanging out, printing money. And unfortunately, it's not that easy. Again, not to say that we don't need some really good framework to keep us in line in the markets, to apply some consistency. But for anybody listening, I think it's important to reflect on that early on. You're going to have to apply your subjective interpretation of whatever tools you're using. And you're not going to be great at the beginning. You'll only get better with time. But to recognize that there's going to be a bit of discretion within your trading, and to understand where you want to allow for that, maybe where you don't want to allow for that. I always tell traders, there's limitations, right? You might say, well, I'm great at being a little bit more discretionary on my entries, a little bit more discretionary on my my exits in profit. But as soon as a trade starts going against me, if I leave myself open to move stops, to add in, to do anything outside of just let the thing go, I really jack it up. So taking yourself out of the equation a little bit. But market's getting ready to open up. I trade YM. I'm here on the 15-minute chart. Got a Top One Futures pre-live account loaded up. This was a little bit of a frustrating day for me yesterday. For those that were on the live session, you saw I ended this thing running in profit. I tend to just hold my trades almost all damn day, and this one was a really frustrating one that got real close to a take profit, and unfortunately allowed it to come all the way back on me. But always that trade review and improve, right? That's kind of the logic that I like to have. So for me, I've tried to adjust a little bit coming into this year, holding my trades a little bit longer. My data shows me I should be doing that, being a little bit more cautious to go stop loss to break even. But there's always that balance, right, of applying that discretion. And yesterday, I held myself back. I did not apply as much as I should have, maybe taking profits at a level that made sense instead of holding on for, another $150, $200 when I was $800, $900 in profit. But coming into today, just to talk markets, a little bit of my review, just to talk markets on this. Interesting trend to the downside here after this gap down on YM. I don't have an immediate trade off of the open, guys. I know we do have Trump talking this morning, or we had Trump talking this morning. I think that was 8:30. Looking at us getting close to testing yesterday's volume point of control here on YM after breaking prior day's low. This is looking like some potentially bullish movement setting up right into the open. I'd be curious to see if we came back up around yesterday's value area high, yesterday's session high from NYSE, maybe above this little zone that I have marked. I'm actually going to get rid. I'll leave that one on there. I'm interested to see what happens up here if we continue to get buying pressure around this area. If we pull back down, I could be interested in a really aggressive long play. I think there's an opportunity to come back up, even if we're going to continue lower on a higher time frame view, really aggressively continue to sell off. I think there's a case to be made that we pull back up. And if I zoom out, I can always make a case for the uptrend in the U.S. indices, that maybe this is just the beautiful pullback that we have here. Now we've got a bullish day starting, and we're going to continue what we've been doing, month over month for quite a while here. So I'm leaning on longs here, a little bit long bias. I like the sweep of yesterday's low. I'm not going to execute super quickly right into this open here, and a little bit cautious that this leaves without me. But if it does, it does. My play is not 9:31 a.m. to be jumping into a trade, really, no matter what. That wouldn't give me a way to structure risk. But if we get a little bit of a pullback, if we show volume here, get a pullback down towards VWAP, maybe test into this 15-minute area, this area of high volume here, I'd be interested in a potential pretty aggressive long. So that's my analysis coming into the open for those from my community and anyone else on here. NQ, how are we looking this morning?
Well, we did reclaim some key levels here. Looking at the higher time frame, we kind of bounced at that 100 level, which we kind of tried to break this morning around 650. And we reclaimed that this morning at 9 a.m. So that looks to be like a failed breakdown, and shorts can get squeezed here. And it looks like, we had a pretty good rip up of by 150 points. We're now back in this Globex kind of value area where we spent a lot of time trading, pretty much going all the way back out to yesterday morning. So we could chop around here. I would say if we can reclaim 230, we can see more upside to 300 and then ultimately 430. So I'm all level to level, especially as a scalper. Sounds like we have a little bit of a different take. You look for much bigger moves than I do. I tend to go for level to level. I'll take on more size. I don't know what your size is, but I'm assuming I would probably take a little more size because my stops tend to be a lot tighter. I don't have to let it, my thesis is generally invalidated pretty quick on a level to level basis. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, nice. Again, no wrong way to do it, but you're right. I do. I trade primarily off the 15-minute chart for YM. I just find that seems to work with me. Best, get me paid best. I do trade with pretty dang wide stops, couple hundred points traditionally on YM. and something that I'll be holding for. If plays out super quickly, could be just a matter of minutes, but oftentimes my trades are a couple hours. I think my average hold time is over an hour for my trades. But interesting level to level, right? Watching on NQ. I try to quiz everybody a little bit on the entries. Do you use? I know you're trading directly off of a DOM. As far as charting, do you use any kind of candlestick, chart pattern, volume to get you in, or are you really aggressive at key price levels? Breaking above, breaking below, that type of a move.
Yeah, so I use the charts to get my price levels, and I'm predominantly using a few different VWAPs: the Globex VWAP, the weekly VWAP, monthly VWAP, to get a broader context. I'll use the volume profile as well to kind of get a micro structure. If we're balancing, for example, in a small zone for half hour, that becomes a micro level that's tradable for me. And then we use the initial balance, which is the first hour of the regular trading hours for overarching context. Are we still in the initial balance? Where are we with respect to yesterday's initial balance? Are we above it, below it, for an overarching context? So I pull my levels off of that. Where do I find confluence between these tools? What's a really solid level to trade off of? And then I'm over to the DOM to execute, right? So we get into that price area. I'm watching price behavior, and I'm trading that movement once we get there.
Nice, very nice. Multiple VWAPs and some pretty clean ways to get yourself in and out of trades. I like it. Yep. I really do like it.
My average trade time is about 2.5 minutes, with a lot of my trades being sub 1 minute, even 30 seconds sometimes. NQ is quite volatile, and I'll usually trade a mini or two. So.
Yeah, nice. Very nice. Yeah, NQ is very, very fast moving in general. I think even if I was on that one, I'd probably have a little bit shorter of a hold time. But that's awesome. It's awesome that you're able to make that work really, really well. I think it sounds like a really solid combination of tools that you're using, and then again leaning on that discretion. You've been in the markets for quite a while, so I'm sure that's built up a bit where you're able to read market context, you're able to identify maybe opportunities in the market that given the whole overview, context, trend, everything that you take into consideration, a little bit of order flow that you're reading, are better than others. And I think that's where so much of this edge does come in, as frustrating as that is. But I try to tell traders, you're trying to unlock a really high paying career here. Why would it be able to be done in 30 days, a half a year even, right? So that
I compare it to learning to play a professional sport, or learning to play an instrument at a high level, right? You can decide you want to play the piano, but you can buy yourself the nicest piano, you can hire yourself the best piano teacher, and you're going to sit down at the piano and you're going to suck at the piano. The teacher's going to give you a couple of scales. They're going to show you what to do, and they're going to say, okay, practice this every day for 2 hours. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Yep. And they're going to come back in 2 weeks, and they're going to sit down next to you at the computer, and they're going to see whether you put that time in or not.
Yep. It's a great analogy, great way to think about it. I agree. It's like learning an instrument. It's like playing a professional sport. I compare it a lot to endurance sports. It's just really slow build. If you think about how someone gets to be a great marathon runner, great distance runner, it's this just slow build for a long period of time. You just can't wake up one day and be fantastic at it. It's putting the time in, in. But watching this market pop to the upside here on YM, I'm really cautious of the shorts, even though we have been selling off a bit coming into this week. My data shows just in general, I'm too heavy on the short side. And I know I've repeated this a lot for the guys on from my community. Too heavy on the short side, and my hit rate is just significantly worse. Pretty obvious if I zoom out on the daily chart as to why that would be over the last couple months. But I do try to stay balanced. And even yesterday, I found myself getting a little bit too rigid. I think something that's been eating me a little bit these first 2 weeks of this year, taking quite a few L's, has been trying to adjust to data, but being a little bit too aggressive with it. And it's such a fine line to walk that I find. Maybe you find the same, that you have something that works really well. And I always try to be reviewing and improving for dynamic market conditions, just areas that I see in myself, maybe with execution of my system. And there's that balance between doing the same thing for too long and never adjusting, never trying to improve a little bit, and making too big of a change and going, well, I need to hold my trades longer, so now I'm going to hold them all damn day. Or, stop loss to break even's really not helping me too much over the last couple of months, so now I'm never going to go stop loss to break even
Right.
when I really think I should. So I do find that that rope is a tough, thin one to walk for sure.
And the market conditions are always changing, right? So adapting to the market condition, is it what you're doing now, or was it the market condition that changed? And if you would have kept doing what you're doing, would it have worked in this different market condition? So that, just to make everything that much more complicated, but that's a reality, right? The conditions are always changing. So we have to reflect on what's working in different market conditions. So that's why we're always trying to judge the context. What's the market that we're in? What's the price behavior like? And how are we executing in accordance with that condition?
Yep. It is it's a lot to take in, and just like you said there, we're operating in an ever-changing market. So, we're reflecting on past data, historical data, our own past performance, and I try to think in large sample sizes, but man, there's a balance. I find that, watching us reject a little bit off this volume point of control from yesterday. I find that most traders, including myself, are too quick to change, where as soon as we take a loss or two, we throw everything out the window. But there's certainly that line between doing something for too long when you have data screaming at you that you need to start to improve and make a change. I wanted to jump over. I had somebody in the chat ask, what was the name of your book? They were interested.
It's the VWAP wave system.
Awesome.
So it's right there on Amazon. It's actually been number 4, number 5 in the futures trading category for a couple of months now. So top 5 bestseller in that category, right up there with some of the most popular traders you can imagine. Very exciting. I loved writing the book, but I never expected it to be this successful. So wonderful.
Congrats, man.
To see it kind of pop off like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. For anybody that's interested, you can head right to Amazon, VWAP Wave System. And you're going to be out in Tampa as well at the ASFX Bootcamp. So,
Yes,
that's exciting, man. For anybody listening, we have a 2-day in-person event coming up in Tampa. I know I've yapped about it quite a bit on these lives, but it's the ASFX Bootcamp. Be out there with a ton of great traders like who we have on the show today, along with some other godfathers of VWAP. Brian Shannon will be out there, so it will be heavy VWAP, but of course there's a whole lot more than just that. There's a ton of different perspectives, traders that are trading drastically different things, right? Like I'll be out there borderline swing trading YM intraday, and we've got guys that are trading for 30 seconds on NQ, everything in between. Yep. So anyone interested in that, you can hit me up. I'll throw a link in chat. But a couple other questions we had in chat. Let's see what we got going on. Good morning, Time Pass. Oh, go ahead.
Just to be clear, too, the system can be adapted for multiple time frames, included swing and investing positions. So just because I'm a scalper doesn't mean the system doesn't apply. All of the principles apply. And then you trade your personality, essentially. All the framework rules apply. So just to be clear on that. Awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah, and important, right? Not everybody's going to find themselves to be the super scalper.
Yep.
So awesome. Let's see. We had Dino Trades. What's going on? Pam, good morning. Colby Clark, Miguel, what's happening, guys? Pam says he's still yapping Greenland. We won't use force. We talk about fundamentals here. I do think its morning movements need to be taken into context. Yep. We want to be careful with trading. Trump markets have been crazy in general. A lot of volatility.
Love it.
Yeah.
I do love it.
You enjoy that? Yeah. That's great.
I tend to not hold a lot of positions, maybe to my own detriment. I the way I look at it is that I take on risk every single day. I don't want to be checking my I have investments, but I don't like super risky investments, ironically. So I'm not holding a bunch of Mag 7 stocks or anything like that. I tend to sell puts on larger cap equities that are a lot slower, dividend stocks, that kind of stuff, interestingly enough.
Nice. Okay, so on the outside of the intraday futures trading, you're more of the higher time frame, more conservative.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's a good balance, right? Because you got so much risk on in one arena that
That's
kind
how
of
it
transition.
feels.
Yeah. I'd say I'm somewhat similar, but again, as far as the approach, I just find myself zooming out, and I've really liked to try to scalp, right? I've really liked to get really aggressive on the 1 minute chart, NQ, ES, but I have to always go back and say what's paying me the best. And sometimes that can be hard to do as a trader, right?
Go.
Like maybe I have to recognize that I'm not the super scalper. My strong suit is going to be holding a trade for 3, 4, 5 hours when maybe somebody's really going to struggle with that. And I'm not going to be as great as picking an excellent entry or being able to think as fast as needed as maybe someone like you that's on those really low time frames for that really quick execution. So play into your strengths, I think is super important. And I think that's awesome that you have something that can be applied really across time frames, across markets. I'm assuming this is something
absolutely.
that,
Anything with high volume and institutional players, it will work because it's all based on volume-based auction market theory for the most part. So, that's how institutions fill their positions. That's how they control slippage. That's how they build positions. So it's all based on that framework.
Beautiful. Well, let's see what we had going on NQ. If at any point you want to share a screen, you can. No pressure whatsoever. There's a little down on the bottom. I know I didn't hit you with that as we were getting prepped this morning. There's a present and invite down on the bottom there.
Okay, I wouldn't mind going through my charts real quick if you don't mind.
Yeah. Absolutely. If you hit present or invite, it'll pop up in the background. Down on the bottom, you can select the screen, and then I'll be able to get my stuff off of here. But yeah, before we swap over, guys, I'm no trade coming into this morning. I know I've been a little bit aggressive off of the open. I just did not have the opportunity for a long play the way that I would have liked without getting involved literally at 9:30 a.m., which I really try to keep myself from doing. We're coming through VWAP after breaking yesterday's low. Pushing right to the upside here. I don't really have a thesis that we just turn and sell off today, so I'm going to be a little bit cautious on the short side. Like I mentioned, I'm interested up around yesterday's session high, really where I would have liked to have taken my profit on my long. The volume point of control from Monday into, let's say, the 49,100s here on YM. If we made it up there, I could be interested in a more aggressive reversion trade to say, hey, I don't think, or at least I have a clean way to structure risk. If we're going to find some sellers, make our way back down to VWAP, I'm dead wrong if I get my stop all the way out above Monday's high. I think if we come through this area here, we really push into this gap, there's a good chance that we run it. I don't think that that's going to happen, which is why I would be interested in a short. This would be kind of a counter to the daily trend, counter to the movement that we have on the 15-minute even, back towards VWAP. So kind of back to VWAP mean reversion style trade. But I got to say, I really don't like it as much as finding my way in long early on. I would have loved that pullback in here. So I may be staying patient today, guys. Just throwing that out there. But I see we have a chart down on the bottom here. Let me go ahead and bring that one on. Okay. Awesome. So I can get rid of this.
So sorry, mine's so much louder than you, dark screen lovers.
No. Take us through it. Listen, it's all about what.
On before I do this?
I'm blind. No, it's all about what works, right? All about what works, and there's just boundless. So whatever works.
I just get a lot of funny critique about people talking about that. So.
Staring at the white screens. Yeah.
Yep. So this is actually my own proprietary VWAP wave system toolkit. So it does kind of a lot of things here. It's auto mapping the weekly VWAP, which is actually, let me get my drawing tools so you can point out. These are all setups too, these little red arrows. So this is the weekly VWAP, and this is the weekly lower deviation. This is the Globex VWAP, that orange band, and this is the blue is the deviation on the orange. So those are all one standard deviations, right? So we've been in price discovery continuation to the downside here. So the number one setup is we We go down and then we pull back to a band for the continuation trade. Go down, pull back to the band for the continuation. These orange lines here, these are actually low volume nodes off of a composite profile. So this is the last 20 sessions, and it's auto plotting the lowest volume nodes off of that composite. So it's looking back 20 days and drawing these out. So I'm sure you're familiar with low volume nodes. Here's one right here, right? So when I see it align, like a low volume node and the weekly VWAP kind of layered over together, that's where I'm like, I like that price level a lot. I'm going to be looking to trade off that level. So we have another confluence here. This is initial balance extension, lower band on the VWAP, and a low volume node. So once we broke, back tested, that's the return to value setup. We had a bit of a, when we're trading within these price levels, these are fade value area extremes, right? So we're building volume in here, right? And it just continues to rotate until we break out of it for a price discovery move. So right now we've kind of returned to that. If I turn on a little bit of volume profile here, that's probably a little early. We go, so we're just above the point of control. We're re-entering value on yesterday's value area. So the value area low is about 223. So, based on our principles, I would expect us to go to the point of control here at 300. If you're long, that would be a good target. If we can get past this point of control and hold, I would expect to go to the other side of value at 428. So those are kind of our principles. This thing at the bottom here, this is called the VWAP wave RSI. It doesn't work like a typical RSI. This is actually just based on deviations as well, right? So if you think of this as kind of like a bell curve, right? 70% of our price action will follow in here, right? And we don't treat this like a normal RSI, right? When we're up here, we're not looking to fade it. Actually, we consider this up here as price discovery continuation, and we expect further upside. When we're trading between these gray bands, that's typically, 70% of our price moves will happen in here, and that's typically a balanced market. So like when we're trading in here, we're looking to fade the extremes. We're looking for longs, and we're looking for longs up here. We're looking for shorts down here, essentially. And we just kind of tie them together. So it's not like a normal RSI. It's called RSI because it's based on a similar type of calculation. It's more of an adaptive RSI. So, if you think about deviations or sigmas, right, that would be the same concept here. So that would be one kind of standard deviation on the price action itself.
Awesome, man.
Something that we introduced relatively recently. It's a free indicator. I don't sell this one. This one's completely free. You can get it on my through my WAP. But it's really helpful. We back tested it a ton in the community, and people are loving it. So it's relatively a new addition the last couple of months.
Awesome.
That's about all I got. This is kind of my quad chart. If you want to kind of break it down, some people get a little overwhelmed by having, a gazillion things on one chart. For those of you that kind of only have one monitor, or you might have multiple monitors, but you wind up just staring at one anyway. That's why I developed a toolkit. It kind of pulls all that information into one spot for you. It can be a little overwhelming, especially if you're used to cleaner charts. To me, it's just intuitive now. I just see it as what it is. But it can be a lot, and I understand that. And these are our weekly VWAP, so you can see how this is silver, how we've been trading in this value area. So the setup when we're doing this is fade the extremes, right? We're always looking to go short at the top, buy at the bottom, right? If we were to pull back, right, to the monthly or the bottom of the weekly, these would be long spots, weekly VWAP here. So this is kind of a 30-minute chart, so this would be a little higher time frame to look at.
Awesome. Yep. Great breakdown. And I like how you have a 4-pack, like you said. If you have it all overlaid on one, it can kind of get to be a lot.
Yes.
But that's all subjective as well, right? Like somebody might look at my chart and go, "There's nothing on there. I have no idea what's going on." I need my VWAPs. I need some more volume profile. But another might look at my chart and go, "That's ridiculous, man. Get all that garbage off. I want just price."
Yeah.
So
and everybody has their own right. There's different systems. They all work. I'm not claiming my way is better. It's just what works for me, and it's worked for a lot of people I've worked with. So,
absolutely,
it is what it is.
Absolutely, I like it. Listen, I think it's something that makes sense. I like how you're able to find kind of both sides of the market, which can be increasingly difficult to do, which is that continuation style with the trend trade, and also that mean reversion play, right? That kind of back to the middle ground. But I think you have something on there that's really, really clean and some proprietary stuff, which is really cool to see. So you found that I'll dig a little deeper. You found that low volume nodes on NQ, coming off of a larger profile of time, tend to work really well for just key areas of interest.
They tend to,
points.
at least we get an initial reaction, right? It might break, but as a scalper, I'm just looking for it to get to that price level and react in that price level. So I don't necessarily look for confirmation. I get the setup, I just take it, right? I don't wait for it to react. I don't wait for it to prove anything.
No 1 minute close or anything bullish engulfing.
I see it. We get to that price level, I'm getting in the trade. And it either works or it doesn't. So usually if I'm waiting for confirmation, I'm too late. I got the reaction I wanted, and then it can break through that level, right? So I'm just looking for the price to get to a key price level where I know buyers or sellers are likely going to jump into the market and move the needle enough for me to have a successful trade.
Nice. Yeah, we're similar in that respect as well. I trade like right off the 15-minute chart. I'm waiting for my area of interest to be hit, and really as price is there moving, I'm jumping in. I don't think that there's a right or wrong way to do it. Like you said, if you wait for confirmation, maybe you could argue that there's a better probability or case to be made, even though that's not a great term to use for most of what we're doing. But you do have that worse entry, right? That movement, it could have already been starting in your direction. So I think that's another one that just find what works best. But if you have stuff like, if you have a system like this where you're already getting confirmation that, okay, we've got this, price discovery move happening, I have this level marked out, I think that is your confirmation to a degree at a point.
Right.
And once it gets there, that's your entry signal to pull the trigger, rather than maybe somebody doesn't have as much and they're waiting for this, multiple bar reversal or chart pattern, whatever it is.
Right. And who's experienced this, right? So this is the price level you're looking to go long from. Price is coming down to it, right? Oh, it's reacting, right? Confirmation, I buy it, and then.
Still going to be right or wrong, right?
Yep.
So that's the way I think about it. Still going to be right or wrong, right? We're still going to have that hit rate. Do you want the more aggressive entry at the level, maybe with a better entry point and a better risk structure, because you have that stop farther away from that zone, that area, and you don't need price to go as far in your favor? Do you want to wait for some kind of movement off of it, because that's what gives you the warm fuzzy feeling to enter a trade?
And how often does this happen too, right? So you buy it, right? Confirmation, boom, clears you out, and then goes.
Absolutely. Yeah, I just I find if I'm waiting for something like that, there's so much of that frustrating where I have my entry level hit, I have my area hit, and I've already started to miss it, and then you have that stop that's way tighter to that point, right? I love, like what I talked about even as I'm mapping this out, I love to be dead wrong. Like if I'm wrong on a trade, I like to be invalidated completely wrong. Like, it was a bullish day and I was looking short. I like my stop to be in a spot where I'm completely dead wrong on the read and the move. And if I wait for a ton of movement out of a zone, for example, I don't get that. My stop's gonna be way tighter. But go ahead. I see we're coming into the level here.
Yeah, so this would be an interesting level for me. This is yesterday's IB high. We have the weekly deviation, and we have a low volume node on the profile. Now, we are super bullish. So, we'll see what happens at this level. I'm inclined to take a little short when we get up here. I'll probably layer into it a little bit because, we have a good, we have a good 10-point spread between these levels, so that's 40 ticks.
Nice.
So
yeah, very
we'll
nice.
See what happens. When it doesn't reach it and sells off before it gets to it, I like it less.
Okay. So
that's kind of like it's already getting ready to blow through it.
Yeah.
We'll watch it. I'll be watching it.
Nice. Yeah, I'm actually looking, again, why I'm still climbing, mapped out that mean reversion style trade. I think oftentimes, even if we're going to continue up, similar to what you look at off of levels, we're going to get some kind of a reaction, right? We're going to get some kind of a fight put up by sellers sometimes, right? Maybe enough to grab some profit. But I'm waiting a little bit longer. We're trading 48,985 on YM here. I'm interested in a potential short if we crack a little bit higher. Up near that session high from yesterday. But I'm cautious. I'm cautious on the short sides in general. I've just been beat up too much this end of last year, and yeah, it's like you said. It can be that balance because, well, maybe I've taken a couple losses, right, in a really strong market. All of a sudden, we start selling off into this year, and I'm being too patient on the short side and have this hindsight bias. So I think it's that ever challenging balance to stick to your guns, to stick to your system, recognize you're going to have losses, and sometimes they seem to just come in these back-to-back waves, while also understanding market's going to be dynamic. We're going to have to take into context what's going on. I'm interested in this one if we push a little bit further on YM here.
Love it.
But yeah, awesome breakdown. No, I think the charts being bright is cool. I think you have probably a little bit more than my taste for a chart, but certainly nothing that's going to be extremely difficult to read price. You can see your candles in between there. You've got clean levels.
You can actually see the price.
Yeah, right. Like some charts I'll look, and I'll never beat anybody up, but some charts I'll look at and I'm like, man, there is just so much overlaid on this thing that I can hardly see price. You have so many levels, so many zones, Bollinger Bands, EMAs, VWAPs. It's just I can't even watch the candle print. And to be honest,
Zach, I haven't always had it this way. Generally, I have like 7 monitors here. So generally I have all this stuff up on separate monitors. So I could just monitor different levels and have an idea what's happening on the different time frames. I've generally put this together more so for the stream purposes. So I could have everything on one chart where it's a lot clearer and I can demonstrate for educational purposes what's happening at what levels. That's another big reason I did it.
Yep. Yeah, I do a little bit of the same. Like on my chart, I'm just not a fan of marking levels almost at all anymore. I get it from volume profile. I'm able to look at the price action from prior day on a higher time frame, but I throw a lot of levels on the chart, a lot of zones on the chart, so we can kind of see ahead of time what we're looking at for streaming purposes, right? For others that are watching. So I hear you on that one, but I'm a fan of keeping it clean. I came from exactly what I just described in the past of an overlaid chart that would have made most traders sick so much on the chart that it's like comical. And
we've all been there, Zach. I mean, everybody
sure.
starts with the MACD and stochastics, and let me watch this for at least I did. I can't speak for anybody else. I also started in 2010. That's all we had back then.
Yeah. So. But no, you're on that hunt for more information, right? The more, the better. If I find out about this new tool, it's going to help me. And flipping that on its head and saying, hey, man, I got to keep this stupidly simple. That's my term that I like to use. Stupidly simple.
Ross Cameron trades with the MACD, and he made a couple million this year. So
it makes it work. Yeah, it makes it work. Finding what works for you. Find what works for you, right? Like a lot of traders will use, for example, correlations across a ton of markets, or they're going to use a lot of fundamental information, where I keep it simpler than that, or at least what I would consider simple, where I'm much more technical. And that's fine. You get guys that are using tons of fundamental context every day. They're reading every news site that they can, and they're taking that into context, and they're applying that to their trading decisions. Where someone like me, in the past, I'd be trying to do that. What's the Fed, supposed to do, and what are they going to do, and then how's the market going to react, and well, what does that mean for all of the 47 indicators I'm using at the same time? And before you know it, it's information overload. You could make a case to go long or short at any price level, and it's just too much. So I find keeping it really simple, applying that discretion, trying to apply some consistency, thinking large sample sizes. That's the core of what's really helped me in my trading. Focusing on being a good risk manager first, and recognizing there's no holy grail. There's no tool that you're going to overlay onto your chart that's going to magically improve your win rate by some huge amount. All about finding what works really well.
That would be nice, wouldn't it?
Oh man, I searched for that for years, as I'm sure
Yeah.
so many have done. Cost me a lot of time. But hey,
And
I
then
see
you
a couple
back test
questions.
with it, and you're like, okay, when this crosses over here and then this does this, that's when I buy, because you're back testing and for, curve fitting the shit out of it. So
Yep. Yeah. I think it's tough. I think it's tough as a trader to recognize, like, hey, it's not this huge math problem to solve, and you don't need it to be incredibly complex to make a lot of money. And I think that was a belief I had. I was like, well, it has to be crazy complex with 1,000 indicators and tools. Like, it must be insane. And it's just not the case. But I'm reading a couple of questions in here. What we had going on, guys? Great insights. Appreciate you, Miguel. Mike's getting long above VWAP. Nice. Morning, gang. Up 600 on the XFA. Lockout now or trade more and blow up? Mike, I think you know the answer to that to that question. Locked out before 10 a.m. news and
hey,
data.
if you're feeling frisky, maybe you're
Nice. But yeah, if you guys have questions, as always, in the chat, feel free. Throw them in there. You guys can follow our guest today. I threw the link in chat. There is his Instagram, Trader Drysdale. We did, I see we got more people hopping on. We did plug the book, VWAP Wave System. If you want to check out a newly best-selling book on Amazon, we've got one. There it is.
It is.
Awesome.
Hardcover and paperback.
Awesome. So we got close to that zone up there. We started to pull back away, and now we're trying to get towards these highs. Do you not like this one as much? You thinking maybe an opportunity, or
I still think
take us through that one?
It's a reasonable opportunity. I do. It did sell off a little early, but if we continue to build a little balance here, we might flesh it up to the upside, but I would say my downside targets are diminished a little bit if we do take it. So let's drop a little volume profile, kind of get an idea what's happening. You can kind of see a little bit of a balance area building here. So what can happen is flesh it out a little bit. This becomes the high. This becomes the downside target.
Gotcha. And you look for that quick move outside of that. Outside
20,
of that
30
high volume
points.
area. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, it's similar from a volume profile perspective, and obviously different instrument, different tools. It's similar to what I look to do, right? That simple level to level movement where the thesis is, once we get to this point, we have the potential to see a reaction. That gives me a way to structure risk. But it's really similar, just on a much higher time frame for me on YM.
All these behaviors are fractal, right? So the same thing happens on the higher time frame that happens on the lower time frame. One of my favorite things to do with my community is when I'm doing this lesson, I'll take a copy of a chart, just what time frame, and I'll show it to them, and I won't tell it what time frame it is, and I say, tell me what time frame this is.
Yep.
And
nobody ever gets that one, do they?
Yeah. And obviously the answer is you can't, right? And why is that? Because everything happens on the same time frame. What happens on the daily happens on the 1 minute, happens on the 30 minute, all of the same price behaviors.
Yep. I'm a subscriber of that. Time frames are fractal. You're going to get that similar formation of price action, market structure, volume, whatever patterns you're going to identify. I think it just happens a whole lot quicker on those lower time frames.
That's right. And smaller targets, shorter duration. That's the difference.
Yep. But yeah, and even the same people will say, well, the trend pushes through on lower time frames. Yeah, I think the higher time frame trend, like the weekly and daily, is going to push through on the hourly, in 4 hour. I think the higher time frame trend of the 15 minute and 5 minutes is going to push through on the 1 minute and 30 seconds. So it's that same concept of that higher time frame to lower time frame trend continuing to push through and being important. But that was another interesting, one to think about as a trader. There's no one single best time frame. There's not something that's going to magically be the best time frame to trade. It's just going to be whatever the best time frame is for you to trade as an individual trader. For the tools that you're using, the system you're using, that gives you a balance of what you need to see on your chart, the price action and market structure that you want to read. But yeah, recognizing that time frames are fractal. There's nothing that's going to be inherently better than anything else is super important. But yeah, checking this bad boy on YM. We tested 49,000.
You want me to flip
60.
over the desktop? Or do you do that?
I can control it from over here. Yeah, let's.
Okay.
There we go. Throw mine up here. Yeah, we got up above, back above this zone that I had marked from yesterday. Not quite all the way up into this range. I think this could be an interesting spot. I'm curious to see if we get some sellers that start to step in here for this this back to VWAP type of a move. I was really interested in a really aggressive push all the way out here towards the 100s on YM. If I'm gonna fade a movement like this, I really like to be aggressive and way outside. And again, that allows me to have a risk structure that says, hey man, if we push another 200 points higher from this point, I'm absolutely dead wrong. But I don't mind this for a back to VWAP move. We're not too far extended as far as a daily range here, but we're coming towards it. Average daily, average session range. We've got a bit of movement out of this thing, but I'm staying patient on this one. Again, I think my bias of looking for the long today or wanting to get long on this today is carrying over. Going to see if that helps me or hurts me. This really isn't valid just yet on a push like this. I wanted to see a tap all the way into here. And we might still get that if we turn all the way back down, similarly to what you're stating on your zone. If we turn all the way back down, right, we come all the way up here, we get the move that I'm looking for. We maybe come back, retest VWAP, retest this price action market structure from the overnight session, and then come back up. I'm not looking to short this, right? That's the initial reaction that I'd be looking for on a sell play like this. But sometimes
now I'd be looking for a long at 260 would be my next setup. If we got down back to 260, that would be my long spot, and then short would be 358. So what we have on the long side is we have this low volume node, which we already tested, right? We broke through it. Now I expect the back test. And it lines up with the weekly VWAP. It lines up with the value area high on the session. It lines up with the upper band on the VWAP. So a lot of confluence there. That would be an A+ setup for us.
Very nice. Very nice. I like it. And similarly to the way that I trade YM on the 15-minute, if we got that really aggressive pullback, I'd say back down towards yesterday volume point of control, today's VWAP that's forming right now, the top end of that overnight price action and market structure from Asia, London, I wouldn't mind a long. That'd be my continuation play. 15-minute, I'm not really framing that out. I think we got a little bit of a movement that would have to happen. I'm talking something that's over 200 points lower on YM. I don't know that we get that, but awesome.
Going straight up.
Yeah, still pushing
no
here.
No pullback, straight up.
Yep.
You'd have to buy a 5-minute red candle to get long.
To find your way in. Yeah, and it's interesting, what I've had, again, benefits and drawbacks, right? So one of the drawbacks to this higher time frame, view and movement that I'm looking for is, unless I'm ready to take trades, into the open and be on the charts early and having that, those alerts set, I get stuff like this that'll form where, hey, we came out of this zone, right? I'm looking at this higher time frame trend to potentially push through to the upside, breaking this daily candle, a prior day candle low here in pre-market, and then coming back up through VWAP. That looks pretty good. Like, that's my long play, something, in here for that, continuation style long. But unless and until I'm ready to be on the charts 24/7 here for intraday and hold into the open, which I'm just not as much of a fan of doing, I can miss stuff, right? I can have, things that will start to set up in pre-market. Maybe the move occurs, after I exit for the day. I've had quite a bit of those where I have a target, I'm timed out, I'm holding all the way into the close, and that target gets hit, very close to the open for Globex. So benefits and drawbacks, but that's definitely a drawback. I can have these higher time frame moves that just don't play out in the time that I need them to be intraday. So
right.
So
I tend to trade about 2 hours a day for my day trading. So get in, get my profit, shut it down, and usually don't trade past 11:30 in the morning.
Nice. Now, do you find that is mostly just to decision fatigue or desire to not
Yeah,
trade? Or
for sure.
yeah,
This type of trading requires a lot of good decision making. It requires you to be on top of your game constantly. I'm in and out. I'm seriously focused, patient. Even just sitting there trying to be patient takes a lot of energy from me.
agreed.
So mental capital is real. It's a finite resource, and I can tap myself out really easily. So I try to limit my hours because of that.
Yep. I agree with I agree with that as well. I'll watch. I'll be setting some alerts. Really cautiously into the afternoon to see if I get a zone that's hit something like that on YM. But I don't think that I can stare at a chart for more than a few hours before I really start to break down on that mental capital. So I'll do some pre-market markup. I'll manage some some swing positions in the live accounts outside of what I'm doing here on futures before I hop on. NYSE, for a couple hours on the high end, I think is the mark for me before that patience starts to wear, decision fatigue starts to set in, and it just doesn't seem to go too well for me if I'm on hour 4 staring at the same chart, waiting for something to happen that's should have happened already, and I should be somewhere else.
Yep, 100%.
So, let's see. So I'm gonna get ready for this initial balance. Got about 15 minutes. I marked the initial balance as well. It's something I pay attention to. I don't trade it exclusively on a breakout or retest, but I do like to be aware. We've got some strong stats behind it.
Essentially.
Yeah. I'm aware of the stats. If we break one side, we typically don't come back down and break the other side. How far we typically go.
This would be my spot here for the short we're approaching here on NQ. Now it's ripping through it, so I'm going to probably give it a second here, but I do like... Okay.
Nice.
It's ripping, so I'm waiting. All right. So if it's blasting through a level like that, I'm not just going to take the trade, right? I kind of want to see it have some type of stall.
Yep.
Not just go right through it. So no trade.
No trade. Yeah, I'm looking at the short on YM. Same type of deal. We're up above session highs from yesterday, tapping that zone that I have marked. I'm looking at it short, giving it a split second here before I smash the button. But we are trading the 49,000.
All right, short at 70 here.
Nice.
I came back into initial balance, so let's see if I can share this. Oh man, sorry about that.
Nope.
Trying to drag things across.
Go ahead.
So I got one mini short here. This will take me out at 250. So that's it, guys.
Nice. I'm short as well, believe it or not, off the 100s that I was waiting for. But I'm going to leave your screen up, Chris, because I want to watch this one start to play. Yeah, very, very cool. Very cool. We got a live trade on, guys. Got a live trade. And I know I repeat myself, but I see we got a lot of people hopping on and off. I always get people that cycle on and off on YouTube. If you want to check out Trader Drysdale on IG, he is Trader Drysdale on IG. You can check out his book on Amazon, the VWAP Wave System, community as well, right? And a whole lot more of what you're seeing here, which is real deal trading, the reality of trading. Gonna see
that's about 25 points right there for my entry.
Nice. ADO King says just closed my longs, perfect timing. Missed the NY VWAP handoff bounce on ES. Dwayne, gotcha. Yeah, Dwayne, I think you were commenting. That was it, Dwayne. That was, or Mike Z is doing well. So yeah, guys, if you're in the green on a day early on in the morning, I always try to give that just general mindset perspective. Try not to continue on trading and being greedy. Lock it up when you see fit for yourself, but try not to go from green to red as so many traders do.
Dad. Just kidding.
No,
I'm the
I
same
know,
way. I'm
I know.
the same
So
exact way.
somebody's got to try to be the voice of reason.
Somebody's
Because
got to be the voice of reason around here.
yep. Let's
So yeah, this trade's so far it's working. We got to see it break into this value area. Then I think we'll go to 26, and then 314 would be the other side of value. Now this is obviously a very strong bullish momentum move. I'm already out of this trade. I already got the reaction I was looking for, but it's always fun, for the longer term traders to trust that these setups work.
nice. Yeah, very nice. Awesome, man. Awesome. Got a little reaction right off of the zone. That's enough to pick up the points that you need.
Yep.
Let me for anybody wondering, I'm going to leave your chart up, Chris. I'm short
Okay.
from 49 104. I got to stop right into that zone 49 300. I'm going to see if we can't get a little bit of a reaction back down around 48 894. But before we came off of your stuff, since you had to trade on a quiz, you man, what do you usually run risk structure wise for something like stops and targets? I know everybody's always curious on risk to reward. How much do I have to risk versus how much should I be aiming to make? Are you dynamic with that? Give us a little bit of a insight.
Yeah, I am
into that.
quite dynamic, and I pretty much start with since I am a scalper, I generally start with a whole, a dollar amount that I'm willing to risk on any trade. So, if I'm trading in a 150K prop firm account, maybe I'll give it a couple $100. And I know as I'm layering in or as I'm getting into this trade, and you can see it right on the DOM where you have to get out at that price level. So I'm just watching the DOM. If it gets close to where my risk tolerance is on that trade, I just have to flatten out. If it's not working the way I thought it would work, I'll flatten out. I'll get back in. I have no problem getting in and out. It's just part of my speed, right? So it usually works out more than it doesn't. I don't use finite risk to reward. However, when I trade the same way I always do, my metrics tend to fall in the same realm. So I generally fall in a 70 to 75% win rate, and my risk to reward tends to range anywhere from negative 0.8 to 0.8 to 1.5. So sometimes a slightly negative risk to reward, but my win rate is pretty high. Generally, I like to fall around 1 to 1, and on a good day, I'll be around 1.5. So risking, 1 to 1.5 in profit.
Nice. Yeah, very nice. That was the detailed breakdown, man.
I know my stats.
That's
sure
good.
You do.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I have a similar spread. I try myself to be around that 1-to-1 with a positive win rate. I know if I'm skewing too far the way I was in this account, although I had some really, really nice results in the last part of the year, if I'm skewing too far where my win rate is approaching 80% and my average win to average loss is dropping, I'm into that like 0.7 something, mark. I'm probably not holding my winners as long as I should be. I'm probably being a little bit aggressive on my take profit. And that was some of the adjustment that I was looking to do, right? Kind of just balance that out, because I always find that if I am, putting up those really nice sized winners, that average loss is much smaller. My win rate just inherently is not going to be as high. But man, there's such a balance, and it's taking what the market has for you for that day, or just the context of what we're doing, and I think, again, it's that what you were doing is probably going to work out if you just hold through and stick through. And so many traders are so quick to change, right? As soon as the market starts to chop a little bit, all I need to do is scout from the extremes and go for a super negative risk reward. Or we start to break out and run. You know what? Never close my trades. Hold to the moon. That type
Silver
of deal.
starting a bit of a liquidation move here.
Aggressive movement there, huh?
Yeah, it just dropped a lot. That's in the last 10 minutes, that's almost a 2% move.
Wow, big movement to the downside there.
Huge move.
Absolutely insane volatility out of those metals this year, man. Insane to hear that you were capitalizing on that pretty well.
Yeah, I like to trade the metals. It's a little more manageable in the extended hours. It seems to have a little cleaner action. I don't know if it's the lack of liquidity or what have you, but it seemed to be a little easier to trade than regular trading hours for the metals. So I was mostly trading it during Asia, and I've done quite well.
Nice. Yeah, definitely. Well, I don't know that I'd say slower these days with the way that it's been moving, but probably a bit slower than the main NYSE session. But man, like how fast that was moving relative to the size you could trade in in prop accounts was just absolutely insane.
So in the cash accounts, they've raised the margin.
I saw that.
So I traded in I have a relatively, and don't hate on me for this, but I do have a Robinhood account too, and they allow futures in there. I try to take bigger moves in there. I have a sizable account; it's 6 figures, and you need $50,000 to trade one mini on silver.
Wow. I mean, makes sense from their perspective, right? Like with the volatility change, they have to adjust that, because that was the first thing I thought. I'm like, dude, this is insanity what they're allowing, and I thought they were going to move it again. I couldn't see if they were going to increase it again, but once something starts moving like that,
So I just got an email from Ninja. I also have an account with Ninja Trader. They just raised their margins too on silver. So,
and gold. I got it from multiple live brokers. I was like, I figured that was coming, but the margin requirements for I think for the live futures account, the broker account that I saw, I just went to do it, especially for the overnight session, right? Like the Globex session was insane for a mini, something like that.
So now they can lead to, big liquid, like what we're seeing right now, massive leverage liquidation, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Where we just get that huge movement.
Flush. Yeah.
Insane. Absolutely insane.
So if this breaks 92, we could go back to 90.
Nice. Now, will you trade silver intraday during NYSE, or are you pretty much just solely focused?
I'm generally focused on NQ during those hours. It's my bread and butter, so I don't want to take away from that. So I'll generally trade the metals outside of my normal opening hours.
Nice. Very nice. So I'm gonna show my chart real quick because I'm doing something a little bit different than I'm normally doing. I am stopped to break even today, which almost always bites me. Is my chart up? Yeah, almost always bites me. But I like this trade. I like my entry. I like this movement. I'm uncomfortable with how counter I am to this really bullish price action today. So I'm going to accept a very likely stop at break even or a really aggressive pullback down. Maybe that that balancing
Great
back
entry,
towards
though.
VWAP. Not bad, man. Not too bad. Right into this zone from yesterday. This would have been my take profit from yesterday. So damn frustrating. Game of inches, of course, with trading, and how much discretion do we want to allow? But that's an example for me where I think not to go back to a review trade, right? But I think it's always important. I was long from somewhere in here. Price is showing me almost 200 points. I'm holding out. Maybe I'm thinking on my data. Maybe I'm thinking on my 1-to-1 risk to reward that I want to achieve. And, instead of really just accepting, hey, we're really damn close to that little zone that doesn't mean anything on your chart. We're into price action and market structure from prior day, even into the overnight session. We've got multiple lows back here. Take your profit and be done with it. I'm holding for, a couple $100, and it's that fine line. So coming into today, I like this entry. I like this movement. I don't, know that this is a complete invalidation point. I think if we do come back up to push this high, we got a chance to run higher. But I don't want to accept, maybe a $1,000 loss getting short on a pretty aggressive movement here. I like this for a reaction play. And, my movement of stop loss to break even for me is going to say, hey, this thesis is now that we play out to the downside. We continue lower, back down around. I'm going to say take profit area for me on this. I'd be looking for a little bit out of it. Would be into the 950s, 960s, 950s. I'd like to grab something on this. So that's my trade for the day, guys. But did quite a bit of review yesterday after some losses coming into the first part of this year. I like to always try to be honest with myself, see what I'm doing well, what I'm not doing well, and man, it's that adjustment. It's that finding the perfect combination, if there ever is one, of catering to your data, catering to what you have going on, and over optimizing. Having that recency bias and just over optimizing. So For me, coming into today, a little bit more discretionary, allowing myself to use some of that intuition to accept, hey, being super duper structured is not always going to be the best play. The market just doesn't move that way. And I just really was not happy after yesterday. It'll happen where I have a nice winning trade turn around on me, come back to be a loser. But that was one that I had that really strong inclination, that experience screaming at me to do something. Took myself out of the equation, and it certainly was not, was not the right move. And one trading day, definitely not enough, but I've had a bit of that this year. So we'll see if we take a stop on this one. But guys that are hanging out on here, I saw a couple people in my Discord chatting it up. Appreciate you being on. As always, we are live here 9:15 a.m. Eastern on YouTube, Kick, and X, showing you what real trading looks like for me. Stops, targets, take profits, wins, losses, everything in between. Feel free, hit like, hit subscribe. We will have a giveaway coming up a little bit later. Going to make you guys hang out for it for a little bit on this one. But we will be giving away an instant funded account from Top 1 Futures in just a little bit on stream. Nice. Yeah, shout out to Top 1 Futures. That's the account that I'm trading in. If you guys want to check them out, links are down below this vid as well. So yeah,
great promo they're running too. I just picked up one of those 60% off.
Absolutely, accounts. Absolutely. Yeah, let me throw this this banner up here. We've got 60% off Top 1 Futures. Link down below, codes down below. 60% off your first or next account from Tradeovate. They are set up with Tradeovate, NinjaTrader, and TradingView. Obviously, Project X, as we may or may not know, is going by the wayside for all firms except for one. So yeah, really solid opportunity. That's me, stop to break even. Really solid opportunity for those that are looking to get comfortable on NinjaTrader, TradingView, start to make that transition. Along with that, they just had a positive rule change. They went from 3% to 4% max loss limit across all accounts. So if you are looking for an instant funded prop firm with really aggressive pricing, really competitive rules, I'd encourage anybody interested to check out Top 1. Remember, I'm partnered, I'm affiliated, I stand to make money, can't be unbiased. Do your own research and make your own decisions. Try to repeat that day in and day out.
You're better about the disclaimers than I am.
I don't know how you run your stream in the community, but I'm wide open. I'm open across the board, so I have so many people filtering in and out, and I used to not say things for maybe like I'd say something once a week or once a month, and I'd constantly get asked the same thing. I'm like, did you guys not hear it? They're like, no, man, we just got here. And I'm like, all right, who's here from today? It'd be like 20 people. I'm like, oh, okay, I gotta repeat this. But even on stream, I see we got a bunch of people on today. But we've got like 260 people that have cycled on and off, and maybe I've got 65 concurrent hanging on here on YouTube. We're streaming across Kick and X as well. But that tells me that maybe half the people on here, weren't here when we started. So got to repeat that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, watching this one, guys. Again, stop to break even. We'll see how this one plays for me today. Didn't quite break that IB high. We tested it. Did we trade it to the tick? We traded it to the tick here. Yeah, on YM 49, 118. Looks like we're gonna try it again, but I do want to be cautious fading a break of the IB high, especially on a nice bullish day like this where we're approaching this high from yesterday.
Market's ripping.
Strong, yeah, really strong movement here.
Dow's up 1%. Russell's up 1.3. Nasdaq's up 1.13.
Yep. Had a couple dings on the swing trading account. I'm gonna have to check this later. Something I was in was up 10% on the day.
Nice.
Yeah, no, aggressive, like you said. NQ up over 1%. YM sitting right at about 1%. ES as well. Strong market today. Really strong market. I'm really interested to see where we go from a higher time frame perspective on these bad boys. We kind of chopped around up here on YM at these highs. Got a little bit of that selling pressure. I'm really interested to see if this is in fact just going to be a dip before we come right back up to these highs, and then what happens when we do. The fundamentals, the outside market is seems a little bit uncertain. I try not to speculate too much on the higher time frame stuff, just because it doesn't really carry over too much to what I'm doing intraday. But I am interested to see what happens if we approach these highs again on YM. If we're
I was going to
just going
say
to
the
start
same
to
thing on NQ. The Globex Open is going to be a pivot level. If we can, if we stay below it, I think we can see more downside. We can give up this move. If we can reclaim above it, I think will be more upside. I think that's going to be a key pivot. So about 450 on NQ.
come back over to your chart here.
So this is the daily chart. This is the yearly VWAP.
Nice.
So this is actually, you would be amazed how, often the yearly VWAP then becomes key spot. We broke it here, but for the most part, so now what we're seeing is downside price discovery on the yearly VWAP. We got a downsloping yearly VWAP, so this could be a bigger incoming correction. We'll see. It's still rather immature, right? We're not even a month into the year, so we'll see.
Yep. Definitely interesting to view that from a higher time frame. So looking at your trading, I don't mean to quiz you, but we got so much good info.
I don't
from
mind.
you.
I'm quizzed constantly, so I'm used to it.
Awesome. So you're scalping on the lower time frames, primarily on NQ. How many trades do you find yourself, if you have an average? How many trades do you find yourself in and out of in a session?
Yeah, it depends on if I'm getting a good clean read on the session. Some days are better than others, that's for sure. Some days the setups tee up perfectly. It's like I don't even have to think. I just press the button. I see the setup. I take it. It works. Next. And I'll do that 3, 4, 5 times and call it a day. On a day where I'm struggling, right? So I'm not getting a clean read. It's bursting through levels. It's not respecting a whole lot. I can take 2 to 3 times as many trades trying to make it work for me that day.
Gotcha. Will you continue on after a few losses? Do you find yourself coming back from that just initial read being off and allowing the law of large samples to play out, or are you more foot off the gas if you're taking?
I tend to be a
some hits?
Fighter.
Okay.
If the market conditions are I'm really struggling, I'll just throw my hands up and be like, this is just not my day, and just, but more often than not, because things can clean up or they'll become more readable as the session goes on. So it could have been just a bad morning. Conditions are very choppy. Things may stabilize, but I generally will not go past 11:30 no matter what. So
Gotcha. You kind of.
I don't need a whole lot of time. Generally, I'll hit my profit target in the first hour.
Nice. Yeah, I like that. Time stop. You allow yourself to continue on. Duking it out. Everybody's got a different approach there. Like one loss and they're done, right? Or hey, I find myself coming back. I think it comes down to the data, right? If you find yourself, taking 1 or 2 losses and then ending the day green, that's maybe the market showing, hey, you need to be able to get proven wrong a couple times before you find that read or just that entry model. Like I've traded with Tanner on here, and he's that much lower win rate, higher risk to reward, where he's got to try the same trade multiple times. He has to take multiple losses, and his day is often gonna
right.
Yeah, his day is gonna look like that, right? And if he says, okay, I'm done after 1 loss, well, that doesn't really do his his trading justice. So
no.
Let's see. We had a couple people commenting. What's going on? Metals are better during slow markets. So Jess from Kick agreeing. Alan as well. I agree. GC in Asia, very clean. Okay, so we were talking about trading silver through Globex. Got some agreement there. Mystic Rick, Trump says the stock market is going to double. Awesome. Does that mean the U.S.
That
dollar
would be insane.
Data shows SPX can run.
S&P 14,000.
All right. Never tried anyone, but 1 to 2 trades a day on the XFAs. Nice. Rusty Golfer saying 1 to 2 trades a day in the XFAs before work. So yeah, I think again, no right or wrong way to do that. I think you have to try to figure out what type of trader you are, what your personality is, like you were talking about, catering, even your system to how much time you have, right? If someone is working full time, but your strengths, if you find yourself not wanting to hold trades, but you can get in and out of the market very efficiently, play to that. If you find yourself maybe needing a little bit more time to make that decision, maybe just a little bit better read from a higher time frame perspective, and you can sit through a trade going profit loss or doing whatever it's doing all dang day, maybe you try to play to that. But certainly I think even with a full-time job, you can find a way to cater to whatever your style is, whatever your approach is, and make it work. It's definitely more difficult to do with a lot of outside requirements, but I think most have that, and I had that for quite a while. I don't know that I would recommend doing what I was doing, which is waking up for London Open and trading the FX markets for quite a while, and then working a full-time job. But I'd say before work, after work, higher time frames, and making some swing trading work. That's probably what I would have started with if I could go back.
For sure. Everybody has to realize, as day traders, time is not on your side.
Yeah.
You're trying to force things to work in limited windows, in and out. Right?
Yep.
So time is the enemy in day trading. Not a lot of people think of it that way, but it's true.
Yep, exactly. I've talked about it a little bit on live streaming as well, right? Like, there's this interesting dynamic where I want to trade live stream for a couple hours. I may not have a setup. The market is not going to do exactly what I need it to do at 9:45 a.m. Eastern every single day just because I want to go live on YouTube. So, recognizing that as well in your own life, right? In your own trading. We got Damo 108 saying, have my first ever $1,000 day. Let's go VWAP wave. There you go. Someone from the community. Nice.
Congrats,
Very nice. W's in the chat, man. Awesome to see it. Man, strong market. So we are continuing to push to the upside. Looking at this on your chart, would you take something on a continuation style play off of one of these? Is this just too far extended to do anything with?
Yeah, we're pretty far extended. This is starting to look like what we call return to value on the monthly VWAP. These can be a little messy. So if we zoom out here, this is the monthly VWAP right here. And these higher levels tend to be, you can see how, highly respected. We opened below it. I didn't think we would go right back into monthly value there. So we'll see. But this tends to be a continuation. So it broke in, it back tested it, and now it's continuing up. So that could have been the trade. It's a little late now, but at least for me.
Yeah. A little bit of that. It's more, again, it's always a tough move. I commend traders that have a way that they can do it consistently, where they continue to find themselves into a really aggressive trending day. And it becomes, for me at least, so difficult to find an invalidation point. Where would I say a pullback on this chart would really be the turn or that strength dying out? And that's where I think I'd struggle on finding a way in long.
The tendency is to want to short it. It's so extended, it can't keep going higher. But in reality, the better trade is buy the micro dip, because every little sell candle is getting bought right up. So the probabilities that that's going to continue are higher than the reversal. So What I tend to teach is the market tends to keep doing what it's doing rather than predict shifts. We align ourselves with the prevailing market conditions. So,
again, hard to do.
Core principle.
Yeah. I think that's a good one. Market tends to suffer from inertia, just like you said, tends to keep doing what it's doing. If it's chopping and you continue to try to buy and sell the breakout, that's where I think where a lot of traders have a tough day, or we get a day like today. And oftentimes, we could see it just from back-end trader data. Like, a couple firms used to have something that would show whether traders were more short or more long. It would, on a day where we're pushing the upside, green across the board, you'd continually find, the stats to be more traders are short, because it's so easy to want to pick the top. But if you just zoomed out and you go, for me, on looking at YM here, I'm not looking at fading this. We've got consecutive bullish 15-minute bars, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 here off of this pre-market open, 8. None swiping prior bar low. Why am I going to be the first person in to short this, to say I'm targeting a break of all of this to the downside? So
and when it grinds up slowly like this, that's also another big sign, right? It'll let you sit comfortably in your contra trend short, and and that's where the squeeze comes from. It'll squeeze you out of that short. Nice and slow, grind you right out.
Yep.
Very frustrating to be short a market that's going up, while everybody else is joining the action and making money.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's, again, tough to do, tough to find your way in. When I was on ES and a little bit more zoomed in, I'd have a couple little setups for it, either an anchored VWAP off the high, or I used to like a 5-minute bar trading below prior bar low, like in a really strong uptrend. As soon as I would get a 5-minute bar that would open up that would crack a 5-minute bar low, I would look for a long for a move to the upside. Been quite a while since I was trading that way, but there's ways you can do it. And man, it always feels like a difficult trade to get in long on something like that. But the hit rate and the satisfaction you feel when, the market's going up and I bought instead of the market's going up and I sold can be really rewarding. So I encourage traders to think in the way that, we're describing here. What's the market doing? Market tends to continue doing what it's doing, right? Suffers from inertia, momentum, whatever, way you want to frame it. Try to align yourself with that, right? If we're trending, and even from a higher time frame perspective, and I even still struggle with that here on YM, where, if we're breaking to the upside day over day over day, we're trending, why am I fading that? I caught myself doing that a couple times earlier in the year. And it's like, market's telling you where it's going. Or if we're chopping really aggressively back and forth in a nice clean range, why are you buying the highs? Why are you selling the lows? We're going right back to do what we're doing. So it definitely can be helpful. But yeah, watching YM continuing to push to the upside, I'm going to stay patient on this one, guys. I don't know that I took my one. I don't know that I give myself another. I'm typically a 1 to 2 trade for the way that I trade YM here a day. I just am not going to be in and out 1,000 times. If I find myself in 3 or 4 trades with the amount of risk that I'm putting on relative to the account size, I'm probably doing something wrong. So I see myself staying patient as we get another 15-minute bar that's breaking above prior bar high, trading 49,000.
Relentless right now.
Yeah, 186.
No shorts, and it's a little late to go long unless you're scalping, right? Micro pullbacks, but not a whole lot of setups for me right now in this environment. I got one setup that I called. It was a good scalp, and I'm glad it was a scalp because we burst right through that level, right?
Yep. There you go. Caught the short side off of a zone. Nice reaction though, right? Even looking at your chart there. Nice reaction. I love, even if I don't execute or even if I end up with a losing trade, I really love when I get a zone, an area of interest like you have marked right there, where at very least you saw a nice reaction. You saw, again, however we want to frame the narrative, buyers and sellers put up a fight, sellers step in, we saw volume, we saw some movement to the downside. I love when we see that. It's nice confirmation that at very least that area of interest is in a good spot. You've got something where the market is confirming, hey, that's a good spot to be, to be paying attention for sure. Yeah. So I got that on mine as well. Wasn't able to capture a nice winning trade on this one, but I'm happy with my stop loss to break even because we are continuing to grind higher, well past my entry point here. So discretion paid me on a day like today, at least so far. But
once price is showing me that it's going to start bursting through high time frame levels, I tend to stop trusting any type of fade reaction. So even though this one worked out nice, the fact that we continued on through it, I'm no longer interested in any more of those types of trades.
Yep. Again, you start to get that context where price is showing you, we're blasting through it. We're blasting through highs. Yep. We're going to take liquidity. We're going to take those sell orders, continue to eat it up.
Punish shorts.
Oh yeah, punishing shorts today, man. As the market so often does, we're going to show us a little bit of a move to the downside, gap down, no fill. We're selling off into the open, at least here. Pre-market London, on YM, and then of course, what do? Right back up, take everybody out that's trying to find their way in there. But yeah, man, I'm watching ES on Bookmap a bit. Continuing to eat up liquidity. There's been a couple of stacks of 150, 200 lots on the book. It's just coming right through them and continuing higher.
This is a textbook price discovery continuation short on silver. So we break out we pull back to the band, and we get the continuation trade.
Very nice. Very nice. Lined up clean on that one.
Did.
So these are, for those interested, because I know I was asking earlier. This is VWAP, the standard session VWAP,
Yep.
and a standard deviation band. One standard deviation, or
Yep, just one standard deviation band. Yep.
very nice, very nice.
And that's
And,
what I'll use on the weekly, the monthly, and the yearly. Just one standard deviation. Now, I do watch the second deviations, but they're a sign of strength. I don't fade them. If we're trading up by the second deviation band, that's a sign that there's some serious momentum, and it's more of a warning to me to not try to fade it.
Gotcha. On a choppier day, calmer, slower moving market, do you find that those first and second deviation bands tend to work as the extremes for that movement?
Correct.
Pretty cleanly?
That's it exactly. Yep. On a balanced day, that's where we're really looking for the fades. And the fades will print money for us all day like that until it, changes context. It breaks out and starts moving in another direction. But like I said, we'll continue to trade the balance until that changes. It'll keep doing what it's doing. We don't try to predict the market shift. We just trade what it's currently in.
It's a great way to align yourself. And I said it earlier, I like that you have something here that, which I think is difficult for traders to do, something that can function really well in both a trending price discovery, continuation. There's so many different phrases for it. Market that's like today, continuing to move to the upside, and something that's balanced, right? Something where we're getting that D-shaped day, and we're just kind of chopping back and forth. To have something that aligns you with both of those market conditions can be really tough to do. I find a lot of traders either find themselves as more breakout continuation style traders or rangier, back and forth fade the extreme traders. But if you have something that allows you to identify it, like this, a tool that can kind of, or at least a tool that can work in both, that's a strength, man. Really cool to see.
Yeah,
cool
thank you.
Absolutely. Well, man, we've been hanging out, coming into the 11 o'clock time frame. This has been awesome, man. This has been awesome. I really appreciate you coming on. Tell the listeners where they can find you. The book, again, I'll ask you to repeat it all if you don't mind.
Appreciate it. Yeah, so VWAP Wave System on Amazon. All right, easy to find. Just Google. You could even just Google VWAP Wave. But VWAP Wave System. And the book generally pops right up. Here I am. Book by Chris Drysdale, VWAPwave.com. There is a free aspect to a lot of this, so feel free to pick up what you want. And Zach, really, thank you. I appreciate everything that you've done. I love hanging out with you. I'm really looking forward to hanging out with you in May in Tampa. I think we're gonna have a great time, and much respect.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for coming on. It's been a pleasure. Guys, make sure you follow across socials. Check out the book. Really interesting and a setup that makes sense, tools that make sense. So it's been awesome, man. Appreciate it. Happy to be seeing you in person, getting to meet in person in Tampa, man. That'll be awesome. And we'll have you back on the show soon. Hopefully we'll be able to do it again in a few weeks.
Sounds great. Manage your risk, guys. Stay sharp.
Thanks again. All right, guys, we are not going anywhere just yet. I wanted to let my guests go before we run the duck races, because that really gets sideways on what we're doing here on the live stream. Awesome, man. Awesome. We got a live execution and a W for our guest on stream. I think really cool way to view the markets. The tools that he's using are definitely different than a lot of what others will see on here, or guests that I've had on here, which has been awesome. But guys, stay tight with me here. Not going anywhere just yet. Gonna take just a quick break, grab a drink. We'll come back with let me throw the banner up right here. Straight to funded account giveaway from Top One Futures. So hang tight. I'm gonna let Chair trade for me. Chair's not allowed to take any entries today, but I'll be right back just a couple minutes here. Back in action with the guys. Let's see, man. Market continuing to grind higher. This is an interesting one, man. Would have loved to position myself in here long, like we talked about. I'm gonna get ready to drop the form, guys, but I'll do a little bit of review, kind of what I started to talk about early on in the session. Just what I'm finding here on YM, man. A little bit difficult to work with intraday. For me, at least, right? The way that I trade, you guys might find it perfect. So I'm sure somebody else is cleaning up if I'm taking an L and vice versa. But I'll definitely talk about this one a little bit. How I'm looking to try to continue to adapt, improvise, overcome, review my data, and continue to get better as a trader and generate better results. But it's been an interesting one coming into this year. Made some changes. I did a really solid review yesterday after a frustrating L, or at least what I felt was a frustrating L for me. And I'll talk a little bit about that. But first, Chatty McChat, we have a giveaway form that's about to be live in the 100% free trading Discord. If you're not in the Discord just yet, here is the link to hop in. Boom. Feel free to hop in there, guys. We are going to be giving out a 50K instant funded account right here on the live stream, but the form is going to drop. Let me go ahead and get the banner up. I'm not even going to ask you guys for likes today. You guys did such an awesome job. It was an awesome session so far, hanging out with a new guest on stream. So you guys were cool. If you want to hit the like button, you want to subscribe, you can do that, but you don't have to do anything for this one, guys. We're going to make it nice and easy for you. Let me go ahead and share the giveaway tab. For those that hopped on late, I was one trade for break even. Honestly, not really a fan of break even at all. I found allowing myself to apply a little bit of discretion, maybe a little bit more than I have been over the last couple of weeks. Today is a good thing, not always a good thing. In general, I find stop to break even will hurt me more than it helps me. But again, like we were talking about, and I was talking about with Drysdale on here, it's that ever-changing balance, man. A balance that you have to find. All right, form is live in Discord, guys. I'm going to let's give you guys 3 minutes to get this filled out. 3 minutes to get this filled out. This is for a 50K Ignite instant funded account from Top 1 Futures. Please only fill the form out one time. If you fill it out more than one time, you're going to get banned from everything, including the prop firm. You have to be in the stream to win. You have to be in the stream to win. So if you fill it out and then somehow you are not here, that's an indication that you maybe did something you weren't supposed to do, and we go ahead and give it to somebody else. So make sure you're in the live stream if you want a chance to win. You have to say what's up in the chat. Let's see. Chat, Trader Chair. Double checking the chair. Let's see what you guys had going on. Yeah, the form's in Discord, guys. Form is in the free Discord. On the screen, you should see it. And the form is in the main chat in Discord. So for the person that continues to ask it, it's in the Discord. Main chat, the one that should be lit up. Entered a few shorts today. Definitely a lesson to listen to the market rather than try to catch tops and bottoms. Yeah, man. Cyrus, it's always easier said than done, right? Always easier said than done, but I like the general philosophy of at least attempting to align yourself with what the market's doing from a higher time frame to immediate perspective. And I think you can have these really aggressive reversion style plays, but they come in context, right? Are you looking for the reversion style play where we've just continued to push to the upside all damn day and you've shorted the thing now 5 times? Does that really make a lot of sense? Or have we come up to a really important key point on your chart? You're going to give this your one bona fide shot for the reversion because you have a strong thesis that that's what's going to happen. But man, those sayings are those sayings for a reason. The trend is your friend. The trend prevails. Don't fight the trend, right? Don't try to catch a falling knife and vice versa. They're there for a reason. again, I think it comes down to finding your style as a trader, your personality as a trader. Are you somebody that is very counter, very contrarian, and you're just going to inherently do better with finding those turning points or attempting to? Are you somebody that is very optimistic or just finds themselves easier to align themselves with the trend? You can play to those strengths a little bit, but man, if you are strictly a reversal trader, when the market, especially on the U.S. indices that are more trending style markets, it can be difficult to work with. It can be really difficult to work with. I do think there are other instruments, in the futures market, in FX, in different markets that are very choppy. They really, stay within ranges for years. You can find some, where this reversion style trade is going to play so much nicer with you. But, again, really strong trending markets. Like, I had to ask myself the question coming into like October, November, why I took so many L's on the short side when we're bullish over, day over day. We're bullish on the weekly, on the monthly, on the daily, on the 15-minute, on the 5-minute. Why am I trying to catch a reversal by shorting the market as it continues to rip higher rather than just hit the, damn buy button, right? And find myself into that trend. Again, always easier said than done. Boggled because I am in two minds of stop losses. I ended up closing my trade because I wasn't really comfortable with my stop loss on TradingView. I had a wider stop, so I've managed it. But the trade would have won. I'm not annoyed that I closed it. Just one of those days where you have to learn, and I'm still learning to trade with TradingView. But yeah, I'll trade well. Sorry to hear that, Tom, man. It's definitely part of it. What I mean with the stop loss is like I was thinking of how many contracts to risk because I kept my risk the same. Every trade, just had to find out the best stop loss distance. Yeah. I got you. Okay, I got you. Thanks. No, I understand. Yeah, position sizing on a different platform, right? And having the right amount of contracts for the stop loss size that you want. Challenging, frustrating, right? Definitely part of the game. So, all right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this giveaway form up right now. I see we got a ton of responses, ton of people filled it out. Awesome. That was over 3 minutes. We gave you guys the time. We're going to get ready to run a duck race. As always, guys, appreciate you hopping on. We do giveaways here almost every day. If you guys want to see what we got coming up later this week, we have another guest on tomorrow. We have MLT Eric coming on tomorrow. I don't know why this is so dang small. I don't know how I can increase it, but I'm not going to jack it up right now. We have MLT Eric coming on tomorrow. Major League Trading on IG if you want to check it out. A new guest on stream, right? Somebody that I believe is trading quite differently than others that I've had on here, which I enjoy, which I really like. I love to get different perspectives, different trading styles, tools that are being used on stream. So feel free to hit subscribe. Come and hang out with me. 9:15 a.m. Eastern almost every damn day. We got a ton of new traders on here, as we always do. Quick note. Right, I like to always kind of give you guys the frame of reference of who the heck I am. I've been in the markets for quite a while, over half a decade now. But here's what I'd like to tell you guys. I don't consider myself to be the best trader. Far from it. I don't have it all figured out. I don't have some magic strategy or approach or tool that you can use to make $1 zillion. None of that. I still make mistakes. I'm still a human. I'm still learning, as I feel that all traders are still learning indefinitely. What I like to show you is what real trading looks like for me. Stops, targets, entries, exits, break-evens, good days, good runs, bad days, bad runs, everything in between. Everything in between. So that's, if you're new here, that's my MO, man. Happy to have you on. Happy to show you what real trading does look like for me. The good and the bad, man. As I was posting yesterday, I made a reel yesterday about posting some losses, posting some red, and my message was, I think a lot of traders are afraid to show that. They don't want to show that because they want to sell a dream, right? They want to sell something, an idea that is just unrealistic. But if you actually trade, if you make money trading, if you do what you say you do, you're not afraid to show that at all. It's not fun. Nobody likes to take losses. Nobody likes to come to the charts and lose money. But you know that that's part of the game. You know that the red days, weeks, and sometimes even months are part of the game. At least for me, right? On the way to green days, weeks, months, and years. So I'm happy to show you guys that here for free. Free 99. If you guys also are new and don't know, everything is 100% free for me. No course, no VIP, no Discord, no mentorship. Free live trading, 9:15 a.m. Eastern every damn day. 100% free trading community, the Discord that you should be in if you filled this form out. Yeah. IG, YouTube, I put a ton of videos out. I'm doing way more videos nowadays on YouTube. It's actually my game plan for the rest of the day. Break down and record some videos here for long form on YouTube. So feel free to follow along, guys. Real Deal Zach on everything. And I've been putting way more just on the day-to-day personal life, trade desk setups, all that fun stuff on IG. So feel free to check that out if you are not. It's Real Deal Zach on Instagram. All right, guys, we have a ton of ducks in a row today. I think this is 103. Shout out to everybody that filled this one out. Real quick before we run it. Yup, I'm going to make you guys wait one more time. Real quick before we run it. Top 1 futures, the accounts that we're giving out today, and all accounts are 60% off. They just dropped this last week. This is by far the best deal that we've seen. It is the best one. It's the same one that they did for Black Friday. 60% off is the deepest discount, but even better than that, link is in the chat, code RDF. Even better than that, they have a positive rule change on all accounts. 4% max loss limit. They widened out the max loss limit. If you guys are interested in prop firms, if you trade with prop firms now, I encourage you to take a look at Top 1 Futures. I encourage you on your own to not just take my word for it because I'm biased, I'm partnered and affiliated. Put them up against the competition. Put them side by side with whoever you're trading with. Take a look at the price, consistency rules, profit target, how much you're able to take out once you hit the profit target, minimum days to pay out, max loss limit, daily loss limit, contract sizing, all of these. Put them side by side. I do it in videos if you don't want to do it yourself, but I encourage you to do it yourself and tell me where a better opportunity for an instant funded account exists. I'd be happy to know it so I can trade it myself. Because this, in my humble biased opinion, is by far and wide right now with this discount, the best deal. It is cooking the competition, absolutely cooking it. Again, this 60% off is for your first or next Trade-Of-8 account. Trade-Of-8, NinjaTrader, TradingView are live at Top 1 Futures. As you guys know, Project X is going by the wayside. It was awesome to see at the end of last year them get the Trade-Of-8 partnership, Trade-Of-8 NinjaTrader, TradingView, so you could be trading directly from a TradingView chart. If you guys want to check this out, link is in the chat. Code RDF gets you this deal. This is going to be good through the end of this month until February 1st. That's what I've gotten from these guys. Now, let's go ahead and run the duck race. Good luck, everybody. Giveaway for a 50K Ignite Instant Funded account is live. Appreciate you guys hopping on. Appreciate you hanging on the stream. We got a ton of people across socials that have tuned in. I'm sure we got a bunch from Drysdale's community as well. Appreciate you guys hopping on. Welcome to the show. I'm sure you have an awesome community there. You're always welcome to hop on my streams, to hop in my free community. More the merrier, that's what I say. And again, if you don't win today, remember, we do these almost every damn day. 100% free here, live streaming, 9:15 a.m. Eastern every day the market's open, unless otherwise noted, which I do in Discord and across socials. And no purchase necessary giveaways. You don't have to use a code. You don't have to use anything to get a chance to win here, man. Love giving back, and I appreciate the partners that I have that support these, like Top 1 Futures. Interesting market for sure today, man. Strong market. Strong market today. Right out of the gate too, which we've had a little bit of. Let's see. Yeah, duck time. We got a bunch of ducks. Throw the ducks in the chat, as always, guys. We'll see who's going to take the W on this one. About 50 seconds to go. We got, I'll announce it once we get closer. Usually we get a lot of ducks that hit the stop loss. But, yeah, one more time, if you were on today, exciting to have more guests on the stream. I love to do it. I hope you guys like the format of having more and more traders come on and trade live with me. I'm looking to do more of it. I'm planning to have multiple guests on stream every week, if possible. But to line up more and more traders, men and women that have been on the stream, that haven't been on the stream, all different skill levels, from veterans like the last one that was talking about starting in 2010 to guys that have just gotten started, over the last few months, give their perspective. 7 seconds to go. Pa Young, It's Me Trades, Tom Ward. Who's going to take this one? It's Me Trades out front. We got a Discord OG, the number 73 duck. At the at the front, It's Me Trades in the chat. Say what's up in the chat. I know you're here. I do know who this one is. We've got a Discord OG taking the win today. Again, this was for a straight to funded pro account. Excuse me. Ignite instant funded account from Top 1 Futures of 50K. We're giving these out every damn week. Random days, random times, but they are almost every day. They are in the chat. It's Me Trades. I knew you were in the chat. You're always on here. Awesome, man. Awesome. W's in the chat. Let me go ahead and move this one back over. Hang on, guys. I do so many damn giveaways. I got to make sure that everybody actually gets their accounts. Let me go ahead and share this for now. Okay, Duck. Okay. We got it. We got it. So, guys, take a look at this market. Taking a look. W's in the chat for the winner on this one. Taking a look at this market, the frame, and the rest of the day, man. I don't have a long on this. We got a retest of IB high. I think there's opportunity to come really aggressively through this all the way to clear this gap at the weekly open, or to just kind of chop around up here, test a little bit of this level right here, and then come back down and balance out. For me, I don't know that I want to get involved directionally either way. I got out of a short for break even. As you can see, $17.20. Was more conservative on this one. Really, after I entered, had to acknowledge that I'm fading a really aggressive move off the open, and something that I would prefer to have been long on, just not an opportunity, right? If I drop this down to the 5 minute, let me zoom out, drop this down to the 5 minute, I would have had to be long into the open, right? Take a look at how this looks. Really no pullback, down towards VWAP after the open, just an aggressive push. And now we're just starting to get our first trickle to the downside here. We got a couple 5 minute bars trading below lows. We got our first 15-minute bar, if you're a price action person, breaking prior bar low. First bearish bar that we've had here off of the open and even into pre-market. So I don't know that I'm going to get a whole lot more trading in. If I do, I'll try to call it out in Discord. I got a handful of things to still be getting ready in the new office that I'm sitting in here, as you can tell by the different background. But happy to be flat today. At least happy to be flat today without taking an L. But guys, appreciate you hopping on as always. If you're not in the Discord, links are all pinned to the top of the chat. Feel free to hop in the 100% free trading Discord. What's your average trade duration? Over an hour, almost 2 hours. My average has been in this account. I tend to hold my trades all damn day. If they run really quickly to a take profit or a stop loss, I'm out. But there's been many 5-6 hour trades in this account. Average is around that 2 hour mark, but it varies drastically, right? Like I could get cooked in 15 minutes. I could have a take profit hit in 15 minutes, but I am wider take profit, wider stop loss, I think, than most. 15-minute chart, just where I find I do best. But anyway, guys, quick disclaimer. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't provide financial advice. Nothing I say or do is suggestion or recommendation to do anything at all. Make sure you do your own research, make your own trading decisions. Read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what this is, even in funded prop firm accounts. And the affiliate and partnership disclaimer that says I stand to make money from links and codes in my content, like Top 1 Futures, code RDF, Bookmap, and others. Appreciate you guys hopping on. Thanks for being here. I will see you live tomorrow, 9:15 a.m. Eastern, 100% free here on YouTube, Kick and X. Talk to you guys soon. Have a great rest of the trading day.